Hey everyone, good morning and good evening. So let's start with today's session and let's see what exactly we are doing. Let me quickly share my screen. So I have launched a VM again. So Ansible VM. Why Ansible? Because there's one topic of integration with Azure DevOps which is pending in Ansible, which we'll do today. Okay. So my VM is up. I'm setting up Ansible right now, and if I go and see, my Ansible is also installed. So I follow the same notes which I've shared with you in the group. So if you see, my Ansible is, wait, this is hyphen. Okay, now you can see my Ansible 2.12.10 is currently installed on my system. Okay, now what exactly we need to do? We need to integrate Ansible with Azure DevOps. Let's go back to Azure DevOps. This is what we need to do. Okay, so this was our account in which I want to integrate and I want to run playbooks using Ansible Azure DevOps. That is what my things are. So the first thing is we need to do is we need to have a VM created where we have Ansible installed. The second is we need to create a service principal between my VM and Azure DevOps. Okay, again repeating, we need to create a service principal between my VM and Azure DevOps. So once we have the VM, I have Ansible installed. This is the steps given in the documentation which you can use it. And the second is we need to go and set up CLI, Azure CLI, because without AZ login, you cannot authenticate yourself. So this is the command. Again, I'll share this documentation with you from line 149, Ansible integration with Azure DevOps. Okay. This is the command to set up CLI. This will be done post Ansible installation, guys. Okay, not prior. Ansible installation steps, if you want, if you go at the top, very top, then these are the steps through which you can install Ansible on your VM. So keep that in mind. Then come directly to this section wherein we are installing CLI. Okay, once this is done, CLI is installed, we have to do AZ login and we need to try and get things working. Just wait. Okay, it's installed. Quickly check which version it is. 2.48. Josh, I think you have some issues yesterday, correct? You were installing 2.0.8. See this, it's automatically I'm getting the latest one, 2.48. And I'm using etc OS. See, Ubuntu 20.04. Okay,
Yeah,
so don't worry, I'll set up Terraform on it and I'll show you also later. Okay, but
okay.
yeah, just an FYI, I'm not getting the older version. This is the latest version. So use this notes which I'll share today for setting up CLI. This is the point where you're setting up CLI over here. Use this notes for setting up your machine. Okay, perfect. Now let's quickly do a easy login, guys, because without login you cannot authenticate yourself. So let's go back to this browser where you're logged in currently. So these are some prerequisites: setting up Ansible VM, setting up Ansible, setting up a easy CLI, doing a login. Once you're done with all this, then there are some more prerequisite, guys. It's not for creating service principal. Okay, we are logged in perfectly. Now in this, I just need this 10 ID. I'll just keep this ID pasted over here somewhere. I'm just keeping it for reference, guys. I'll delete it later. Now, if you see that this is the command which we need to execute in order to set up service principal. So this command is azad create. SP is for service principal, create for RBAC. Now I can give a name over here, Ansible SP for this machine, for VM. So by this naming convention, we'll know what exactly we are doing. Okay. Make sure it's all lowercase. Remove the hyphen from it. Okay. And role, contribute, scope, subscription ID. So this is the place where you need to put the subscription ID which we just copied. Okay. Done. Now let's run this. So what exactly we are doing with this command? We are creating a service principal and we are connecting to from the VM to Azure Cloud Services, and we are providing contributor access over here. What we are providing? We are providing contributor access. Why do you need a contributor access? Because when you run Ansible, okay, and you need to execute something on this, you need to have contributor access. Okay, like suppose now after this you will be writing a playbook. Okay, in the playbook you have written that I want to have a httpd install and those things installed. Okay, so you need to have that permission to install it on the VM, because that will happen through pipelines, not directly. So we have created a service principal on the VM and we have connected this VM with AD authentication with Azure AD. Okay, so if you see, we got this service principal created. I'll just copy this. This is very important, guys. These are credentials. Okay, these are credentials which is required to connect. So just have those credentials pasted over here for a while. Make sure to delete later. Now this is a directory which we need to create, credential directory, wherein I'll be putting all this credential for authentication purpose. So let me go ahead and create this. Okay, done. And this is the format which we need to use. So I'll just copy paste this entire thing, put it over here. Okay, now let's start filling the information. Firstly, it's need a subscription ID. The subscription ID is nothing but this is the ID which we copied over here. This is a subscription ID. Okay, client ID, come back. If you see this app ID, this is app ID is your client ID. Secret is nothing but your password over here. This is exactly the same. Remember when we were creating service connection, wherein we were putting all this information. So it's the same thing. Okay, secrets. Now we need a tenant ID.
A quick question.
Yep.
How did you get the password encrypted?
The password, this is not encrypted. This is a secret key.
Oh, the secret. Okay.
Yeah, so this is not my system password.
Okay.
Okay. So done. So this step is done. So till now, what all things we did? We created a VM, we set up Ansible, we set up CLI, we did easy login, we set up the service principal, the passwords, the secrets were created, not a password, guys, the secrets were created, and we created a CRED file in which we have kept all this. Okay, are we good till here? Now with Ansible, if you want to connect this machine, this is your Ansible VM. So these are all prerequisite, guys. So these are all prerequisite for creating service principal, getting authenticated with Azure Active Directory, saving those credentials on your local VMs. This is a local VM, and this is your Ansible machine, basically, I will say. Now the point is, I want to connect this Ansible machine with my Azure DevOps account, with my Azure DevOps project. So we got a Azure DevOps project over here, correct? I need to connect this machine. Why do I need to connect this machine? Because this is my Ansible VM server. Just consider this as a master node. Okay. Now this machine needs to be connected with my Azure DevOps. Okay. How do I do it? First, let's go and set up this machine also. I have not set up the local host. So vi etc Ansible host. There are a few more changes which we need to do. So let me come and set a local host over here. So I'll just do it as local host. I need Ansible user over here. Ansible user. What is the user? DevOps mail. Okay, I need Ansible SSH pass as well. Test at 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So this is my VM credentials. Okay, this is done. Now there's one more config change I need to do. So let's go into etc hosts. These are all prerequisite, guys. Till now I'm just doing the prerequisite, nothing else I'm doing. Okay, now in this, let's open this Ansible config, run this command. We need to enable the config first, run, then open this via Ansible config again. Now you get this, there's a host key check which is happening on your system, which we need to disable. Okay, so this is the line, host key check, and make it false. Done. Is this thing written over here? Not written, so I'm just writing it again. Okay. I'm just writing it in the documentation, guys, so that you guys can follow this documentation. Okay, perfect. And host key entry, that is written at the top. When you're setting up Ansible, you need to set up the inventory. It's given over here. Okay, so make sure follow the documentation thoroughly. Done. Now coming back, let's do a quick check if if the commands are working. How do we check? Ansible all -m ping. So if I'm getting a ping response, so it's looking perfect. Now till here, things are pretty good. Now moving forward, if you want to connect your Ansible VM with Azure DevOps, you need to generate your SSH keys. Without key, it will not, because the authentication happens over an SSH, over SSH. So we need to create a service connection, and the service connection will require your private key of your VM. That's why we need to run and generate the public and private key for connecting to my Azure DevOps. So how do we generate? So this is, we'll be using the toolkit SSH key gen. So this comes by default, guys. So don't worry. -T. So the algorithm type will be using RSA. There are other types also, but in case will be using RSA, and this is 2048 bit. So we got 1024 bit encryption, 2048, 3052. So such encryption methods, and 74 we have. We got 4048 also. So such encryption methods we have, but we'll stick with 2048 RSA type. Okay, 2048. So what this will do? This will create a key pair, a private key and a public key. Okay. Now this is a default location where the key gets generated, guys. So let's keep the key in the same location. Don't edit that. Enter passphrase. If you want to have some password protected keys, then you can enter the passphrase, or else just for now, just hit enter. Don't put any passphrase. Okay. Now if you go and see in this folder, you will have a private key and a public key created. If I just copy this and show you, see, if you see this, you got a private key and a public key created. Now if you share this public key with anyone, then they can log into your VM without password. So this is also, if you want SSH authentication on your system, so this is another way of giving SSH authentication. Now okay, now let me do a cmod 755 to this folder. Okay, and it is, the step is, it is asking you to create authorized keys over here, which we already have it, and it is asking you to give 644 permission to authorize keys. Once this is done, copy ID. So we are copying things to this local host so that we can do SSH authentication to this local host. Okay, after this command, see, giving my VM password now. Now I'm added this key to this local host. So this is my local host. I've added the key. If I try to log in now to my local host, see, I'll be able to log in without password. See where I am right now. I'm logged in without password. So this is a SSH authentication what we did. Okay. So this is a testing that your keys and the private key, public key which you have created, that's working perfectly. Okay. Now just do a cat, copy your private key. I'll show you why exactly we created the key now. Do a cat. This is your private key, guys. This is, you need to keep it very secure. That's why we keep these such things in vault. We don't keep it on VM or things like that. So because if you're doing SSH authentication, you need to keep this private key securely. You will be sharing with others only the public key, not the private key. Public key, using public key and private key combination, the other person can log in. You just need to add his public key into your authorized key segment. Okay, that's a public private key algorithm. So we'll talk about that whenever, if we get time, we'll talk about key algorithm in details. But for now, this private key, you need to keep it very secure. Okay, why and where do I need to put this private key? Let's come back and see. Okay, come to project settings, come to service connection. We need to create a service connection between my Azure DevOps and Azure Ansible machine. This is my master node, Ansible server. Consider this as a server. Okay, service connection, new service connection, SSH. Now this is how we need to do. That's why I've created the private and public key, because we need to do a SSH authentication. Host name, give whatever name you want to give. No, give a IP address, or if you have a domain name, give that. Port number 22, that is completely okay. Private key, this is where I need to copy this from this line till this line. Okay, make sure you don't copy anything extra. Username, DevOps mailer, password, test at 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 Service connection name, Ansible server. Description, give whatever name you want to give. Grant permission to all the pipelines. Okay, save it. So we got this created. Now till now, these were all prerequisite we did. Okay, till now, till this part, these were all the prerequisite what we did. Now we need to go and start running Ansible commands if you want. So for doing that, what do I need to run? I need to run a playbook, correct? So what I can do, I can create a repository first. Let's have an Ansible repository created, a new repository created. Name it as Ansible. Name it as Ansible repo. Something fancy. Created. Clone this local. We got our playbooks created, correct already. Why I'm creating this repo? Because I need to put my playbooks and things like this over here. Just do a git clone. Okay. Let's go to this folder. Okay. Let's open this folder. Let's name it as playbook.yaml. I do have a playbook written over here somewhere. Let me copy paste. Okay. The only thing is I don't need this temp and all. I'll keep it as it is. The Apache install, host is all, update OS task, and okay, this is looking good. I need this index.html file also. Let's inside this, let's go and create that index.html file also. Let's have HTML. Welcome to Ansible. Okay. HTML. Okay, we got the playbook, we got the HTML, but this is why it is stored as text. Let me store as YML. This is looking good now. Same goes with this text file. Okay, looks good. I got the playbook, I got the index.html file. Now let me push this to let's do a quick add. Let's do a quick push. Okay, you did not create a folder. Okay, I need to create a folder also. Let's have a playbook folder. Let's copy and paste this over here inside the folder. Okay guys, perfect. Playbook. Let me do a git status. Okay, perfect. Let's do a git add. Commit. -m added playbook. Okay, let's do a push. So what all things we did? We created a repository. Inside the repository, I've created a playbook folder. Inside that playbook folder, I've added all the document, all the config which is required for running playbook. I got the playbook written. I got the index.html file. If you want a separate inventory file, you can have that. If you can have that inventory file also added to that playbook folder, but that is something I don't want. So I'll keep it simple for now. I'll show you from where I'll read the inventory file. Okay, so we got this folder, we got this text file. Okay, it's okay. It's okay, even though if it is looking like a text file. Let me change this. I don't want this. Wait, let me get rid of this text file because this may create a issue later when we try to execute this command. Where's that folder? Let me edit this with a notepad. This is looking good now. Let me remove this text file. Okay, so we got a proper HTML file, guys, not a text file, because the HTML text file may create issues later. That's why I'll have this now inside over here. Now this is looking good. Okay, HTML file and playbook. Now, before you jump on, start executing any Ansible, you need to have an Ansible plugin. So if you see this, I already have an Ansible extension installed by Microsoft. So go to your Play Store, browse Marketplace, and make sure you got the Ansible, this one, installed in your organization. Okay, if not, then you may have to install it. Come down. Now I can run Ansible command using YAML. I can run it through Classic also. Let me show you Classic. The same thing will work for YAML also. Let's create a new pipeline. Let's name this as, let's have empty for now. Name this as Ansible release. Let's have this. I don't have a build, guys. So where exactly where my playbooks and everything are kept. So I have my playbooks and everything inside Azure repos. Okay, so let me select that Azure repos. Let me select the project. Let me select my Ansible repo over here. The default branch is main branch for me. I'll keep it manual for now. Let's name it as Ansible. Okay. Now, if I go back and if I look for Ansible task over here, I should see Ansible. Okay. Now there are a couple of options over here. Ansible, where is your Ansible location? Agent machine. Agent machine is talking about your agent pool. Do you have Ansible installed on your agent pool? If you have it, you can use this option. If no, no. So in my case, I have my in Ansible server, correct? This is my Ansible server where my Ansible and things are installed, wherein I have done all the prerequisites, correct? So I'll stick with remote machine. It will ask for SSH endpoints, which we have created. Just now we have created SSH endpoint, correct? Using service connection. So that endpoint I need to select. Where is your playbook? Is it on your agent machine or is it on your Ansible machine? So my playbook is in the repository right now, correct? It's not there on my it's not there on my server right now. If I want, I can keep it over here also and run it. Okay, but it's there on my host agent. Why agent? Because when I run this, execute this pipeline, this is my agent, correct? And my files will get copied over here, correct? So that's why it is on my agent machine, and I can point to that machine using this command, using this folder, till this folder. Okay, till this playbook. My files are kept over here. Where is the file path? The file path is nothing but your YAML file name. What is the name of the YAML? It is playbook.yml, correct? I'm not wrong. Is that the file name? This one. Playbook.yml, correct, perfect. Okay. Inventory location, where exactly your inventory is. Use default inventory file. Use file if you have a separate file. So like suppose you have created an inventory host file, custom host file, then you can give the path over here. Host list, if you want to have, you can define the list over here. You can give all the IPs over here. Last option, inline, if you want to have the content pasted, domain name pasted over here, you can do that. In my case, my inventory is kept inside my default location. Okay, it is kept on the default location. Default location is etc Ansible host, correct? That is a default location on my Ansible server. So this is where my files are. etc Ansible host, correct? This is where we have defined this local host thing. This is where we have defined. So I want Ansible to read this line for me. So that is what, that's why I'm using use default, but you have all other options which you can use it. Okay, that's it. Let me save this and let me show you if we have Apache installed, because the playbook, if I'm not wrong, this playbook is installing Apache. Yeah, that's installing Apache. Yeah, Apache installation. So if you do a systemctl status Apache 2, because this is getting installed on local host only. So that's why I'm checking on local host. But imagine if it is a VM, a different set of VMs. Nothing you need to do after all these steps, what we did. The only things you have to do is go and add that VM IP or a domain name inside your host file. That's it. That is the only thing you need to do. Okay. Let's come back. Okay, this looks good. Create a release. Run it. Release 1 is created. Let's deploy. So this is getting deployed on my local host only, guys. In case if you want to do it on another VM, you need to have only the one thing you need to do is just go and add the VM into your host file and make sure there's SSH connection happening from your Ansible server. That's it. Nothing else you need to do. No SSH key setup, no nothing. The only all this setup which we did, this was only for setting up your Ansible server. That's it. All your worker nodes, the host machines will be basically just start adding those machines inside your host file. That's it. Now we are executing the playbook. See, it started running the playbook. Where it is running on the local host, because this is the local host mentioned inside my, where it is mentioned inside my host file. Making sense, guys? This
See,
is the entire list of documentation which I'll be sharing. Yeah, tell me please.
yeah, this CMD is automatically open, or is there any console to check what is going on background?
Yeah, this is a logs. So like if you come to the pipeline, if you come over here, there's a log, and this log you can see, if you click over here, you can see all the logs. Okay, you can see what's happening. Now it's there. How do we verify? I should have the Apache page. Welcome to Ansible. How did we execute this? This is got executed using Azure DevOps. Now for doing this, guys, initial setup is a quite hectic task over here because there are so many things I did, starting with setting up Ansible server, setting up a AZ CLI, logging to your cloud, creating service principal, getting those credentials, adding those credentials into .azure cred folder, creating a private and public key, adding that public key to your VM, then coming to the Azure DevOps side, installing Ansible plugin, then creating a service connection, SSH service connection, wherein we are using the private key which we have created. After all this is done, your connection is established, creating a release pipeline. Before that, creating a repository with a folder, playbook, or whatever naming doesn't matter over here. Keeping all your information, your playbook and index file. Why did I keep the index file? If you look into my playbook, it is copying the index file also. So we need to provide the index file also, correct? So no temp, guys, this should be index. If you put temp, then no, you'll get an error, index file not found. So keep it as index.html, keeping everything together so that when my playbook is running, it can fetch the file. And from where exactly it is fetching the inventory, it is fetching the inventory from the Ansible server itself. Why I'm keeping it on the Ansible server? Because if I'm tomorrow adding any new machines, I can directly go and add to my VM. I don't need to come anywhere inside the pipeline to do anything. Directly on the VM, I can add the host machines. So these are the prerequisite. Now, adding new VM will be a cakewalk for you. Just go and create a new VM. Imagine you're creating a new VM. You got a new public IP. Come to this segment over here. After checking that it's working, you do a ping and check if the host machine is working and just put that information over here. If you want to put it as a single, or if there's a group, then you can create it as a group also. And that's it, nothing else you need to do, and run your playbook on top of it using pipelines, and it will work perfectly. Make sense? Anyone? Any questions? Any doubt? Can we try this by ourselves? And let me know if things are working for you guys. So this is how you will be integrating Ansible with Azure DevOps. And this is one-time setup, guys. Once you have done the setup, you don't need to do this setup again and again. This is one-time setup. You have seen it's working perfectly. That's it. Tomorrow you just keep on adding inventories if there's a change in inventory. That's it. Because as if now I'm doing all this on my same. I'm using this machine as my Ansible host, and on the same machine I'm also installing running my playbook. So my playbook is basically getting executed on this machine itself using the pipeline. So I'm making use of the same VM because we are just doing testing. This is not production, correct? So, but in reality, you'll have n number of host machine. So if you have any such scenario, just nothing, one extra thing, you just need to go to this host file, add those VMs. That's it. Nothing extra. You don't need to copy the SSH keys on those host machine. No, it's not required. You don't need to set up Ansible on top of it. No, it's not required. And Ansible is agentless. Are we good with it? Any questions? Any doubt?
I
Yep.
a quick one. So I was trying to just like log into Azure from the VM. Trying to I tried to just like build a keyboard or something, and it kept giving me an error that said that I don't have the Azure CLI org, and I can't seem to.
Okay, so if you're trying to connect, the first thing you'll need to authenticate yourself. Okay,
Mm-hmm,
that authentication happens, or if you're using from the command line, you need to use CLI, Azure CLI,
mm-hmm,
and using the CLI, you can do az login post that. So that steps are written over here. That is what even over here it's required. So if you go and
I
see,
did that.
yeah,
Mhm.
this is the step which you need to follow. Wait, let me remove this part. See, this is a step from the line number 151 till 155. This is a step which you need to follow. This will make sure that you're authenticated. Once this is done, you can execute whatever commands you want
Okay.
from your command line. Okay, let me remove my keys and all. Okay, guys, so this was the last topic in Ansible. I wanted to start Docker today, but it's already 7:45 and there are few doubts what people have it. So I'll have to take care of those. Okay, guys, so do we have anything over here pending? Any doubt over here before I move on to the next topic? Nothing? Okay. So there is a doubt. How do we execute Terraform from Ubuntu machine? Okay. Running Terraform config from Ubuntu machine. I don't have Terraform installed on it. So for doing that, the first thing you need is CLI setup. Okay. But we have already done CLI setup for my Ansible when we were executing Ansible. So if you do go and check CLI, I got CLI version 2.48 installed. For doing this, you don't need to do anything extra. Just copy the same line from here to here. Az show command will, if you run this command, if you're getting the output, that means you are authenticated. Okay. So from here to here, just execute the command, your CLI will get set up. This is the first prerequisite for setting, for if you want to run Terraform. Now, second is we need to install Terraform. So I'll go to the official documentation of Terraform. Okay. Now, if you go at the very top, download Terraform, there are machines over here. Ubuntu. If you see, there are manual installation. If you have Mac OS, Windows, or Linux. So we are in Linux. In Linux, we got Ubuntu. This is my Ubuntu 2004, correct? How do we verify? Cat etc OS release. I got 2004. Focal folk. Or if you have CentOS, Fedora, Amazon Linux. Okay. So mine is Ubuntu. These are the steps which you need to go and run in order to set up Terraform on your local. So copy this step. This is basically getting the dependency. This command is getting all the dependency which is required to execute Terraform commands. And this is where I'm adding the GPG key. This is how we are copying the key and we are authenticating that we are downloading the Terraform from the right source, not from any third party. Always try to use the official website. Don't go to any third party, guys. Okay, done. The key is added. The key is highly encrypted. That's why you're seeing all those extra character over there. Now verify. This command will verify the key which you have downloaded. Okay, and looks good to me. Once verified, you can see report something like this. Is it reporting something like this? I'm getting proper key over here. Okay, looks good. Now you can go and add this repo. This is a Terraform repo which we are adding to the local repository. Done. Do a app update. You can see the Terraform now. HashiCorp. Do you see apt release HashiCorp? Now we can go and install Terraform. Unpacking Terraform. Done. Verify Terraform. 1.4.4. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll have a folder created. I want to run a resource group, correct? I'll have a folder created. I'll go inside that folder. I'll have a Terraform config created, correct? I need to create a resource group. resource -group.tf. Okay, now I will not write everything. I'll just copy paste from my existing existing Terraform, and I'll put it over here. There is Terraform. Okay, it's the same configuration which we have already written previously. Copying, pasting the entire thing and putting it over here. Done. Done. Let's verify and see where exactly I am right now. I'm inside root resource group and inside where my configuration is there. Okay. Now I can go and run the command terraform init. It is initializing my backend. It will go and download the provider. Perfect. Looks good. There's a provider installed. Let me go and show you the hidden files. We got the log Terraform folder and we got the log file. If you want to view hidden file -a guys in Linux. Now let me do a Terraform validate to check if things are good. Let's do formatting also. Perfect. Terraform plan. Let's wait for the Terraform plan to pop up. So this is, I'm just demonstrating if you want to run Terraform from Linux machine, guys. That was the query which I had from one of you guys. So because we have executed Terraform from Windows, so this is just I'm showing you if you want to execute Terraform from Linux. Okay. Now if you see this, I got the plan. Now if I want to do apply, Terraform apply, make it auto approve. We'll have this resource group created on my cloud. Now this will only work when you have CLI setup done and get the latest version of CLI, guys, using. So that's why the commands which I'm giving, just make sure follow the notes and execute the commands. Okay, that's why I always say to go to the official website, because what happens if you go to any third party, you may end up using some very old article and the things may be outdated, because of which you may not have all this information. Okay, done, created. Let's verify that. Still coming up. What is the name of the resource group? This name, my demo RG. Okay, where the resource group is. Let's wait for a while. Let's do it from the command line. If it's not on the portal, easy group show. Sorry, it's list. Easy group list. See, it's there over here. See, it's visible. Why it is not coming? I have to log it. Yeah, it's there. No, my demo RG. Okay, perfect. Works. If I want to delete this, I can do a destroy also. Okay, this is how if you want to execute Terraform from your VM, Linux VM to be very specific, this is how it is. Very straightforward. Nothing alien you need to do. It's just follow the official documentation and then follow the same process which I've showed you on Windows. Windows, your Terraform commands will not change, guys, whether you're running it on Windows, whether you're running on Mac, or whether you're running it on Linux. It doesn't, it's not platform dependent that the commands will change. Everything, your way of writing the configuration, the way of executing the workflow, everything will be the exact same. The only thing is the installation part will say change a bit. Okay. Anyone else? Any other questions, guys? So today I have not started Docker, guys, but yeah, that is something we'll do it tomorrow. Full-fledged Docker from tomorrow onwards. We'll start with Docker because it's hardly I'll get half an hour now. So in half an hour I'll not have much I can share about you, because once we start with Docker, I want to show you the initial setup. How do we execute all the basic imperative commands, then writing a Docker file, creating a custom image. So there are many things in Docker what we will go and see now. So for now, let's stop over here, because if I take this forward, I need 1 more hour at least. Okay. So that's why I'm stopping right now over here. Okay. If anyone has any question, any doubt, please do let me know, because I'm done for today. We are done for Ansible, and this was the doubt. Hopefully this is making more sense now. If anyone wants to try this, setting up Terraform on Linux, please do it. I'll share the documentation for your reference. Just make sure to use the official documentation and official website. Okay. Any doubt? Any questions? No doubt, guys. Let's connect tomorrow and let's continue with this topic. Bye bye.